All right, this is a quick review of consecutive numbers, which is included in the quadratic applications unit. Um, you actually probably did some of these problems in Math 1. I'm just intending to review, because I think there's a chance you could see one on the final exam. How do we represent consecutive numbers? Well, consecutive numbers always begin with x. We might not know exactly what number we start with, but we do know that the next one would be x plus 1, the one after that would be x plus 2, and we're going to continue that pattern. Consecutive numbers would be numbers that are right after the other. Consecutive even numbers. Now, consecutive even numbers begins with x. Now think about 2. What would I add to 2 to get to 4? Well, I'm going to add 2. So the next one's x plus 2. What would I add to 2 to get to the next number of 6? Well, I would add 4. So it's going to be x plus 2, x plus 4, and then x plus 6, and dot, dot, dot. We continue that pattern. Okay? So that's how we take a look at consecutive even. Consecutive odd numbers. This is odd. I want you to think about x, because the most common thing people want to do is say x plus 1, x plus 3. Think about that. If I do have my first number, and I don't know what it is, but it has to be odd. Let's just say I'll start with 3. The next odd number is actually 5. What number am I actually adding to get to 5? Well, guess what? You're adding a 2. So the next number would be x, add 2. The next number after that would be 7. Okay. Next number after that would be 9. Well, from 3, I would have to add 4 to get to 7, and from 3, I would have to add 6 to get to 9. So it only matters what number you start with. So if I start with an odd or even number, and I add 2, I'm going to end up with another odd or another even number. So the setup for odd and even numbers is x and x plus 2. The product of 2, the product. When we think about product, we think about multiplying two numbers. I want 2 consecutive. Does not mention odd or even, so it's x, x plus 1. X and x plus 1 are going to be multiplied. So x times x plus 1. And then it says is. Is my favorite math word. It represents equals, and on the other side of that is 56. We're actually going to distribute the x, so I get plus x. If I solve a quadratic, and that's what this is really going to be, I do want to bring 56 to the other side, so it's going to be minus 56. And I have now set it equal to 0. All right. This does factor. What multiplies to give 56, that subtracts to be 1 in front of x. Well, I think you can figure out, if you think of everything that multiplies to give 56, you get 7 times 8. The bigger number is 8, and the bigger number will match the sign of the middle term. It needs to be positive, so I need a positive 8 and a negative 7. Set that equal to 0. Now I'm ready to solve for 2 possible answers. So I'm going to set x minus 7 equal to 0. My first answer is 7. My second answer, x plus 8, is equal to 0. And if I subtract 8 from both sides, I get x equals negative 8. Now my answer says the product of 2 consecutive numbers. This is one of those problems where it didn't say I needed positive answers. It didn't say I needed negative answers. It actually didn't even stipulate that I needed odd or even. So there could actually be 2 sets of answers as written. Okay. I will tell you that I will try in the future to make it to where it's not that way. So I could say 7, and then 7 plus 1 would be 8. 7 times 8 does give you 56. But on the other side, what's negative 8? What's negative 8 plus 1? Well, negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7. Negative 8 and negative 7 also multiply to give 56. So technically, if you want to be a little bit thorough with your answer, you do end up with 2 possible answers. Now, I'm just going to mention this. If I were doing this problem, I probably would never have worked it out like this, although this is the quadratic solution. I could probably guess and check faster than I could work this out. So there aren't that many numbers that are one after the other that multiply to give 56. So hopefully 7 and 8 would be quick to come to mind. Number 2, product of 2 consecutive odd integers. Okay. Now remember, I'm looking for odd numbers like 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, dot, 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 dot. The product, that means I'm multiplying. I'm going to first start by trying to guess and check. Well, these are 2 consecutive, and they're both odd. 3 times 5, though, not 99. 5 times 7, not 99. 7 times 9, nope, not 99. Uh-oh. 9 times 11 is 99, and they are odd. And if I multiply them to get the product, I do get 99. So my answer is 9 and 11. If you don't like the guess and check, which hopefully you do, you could say, yep, it'd be x and x plus 2. So x times the product, remember it's product, is 99. Okay, get x squared plus 2x. I do need to bring over the 99, which is going to be minus 99. Set that equal to 0. This would be the way that you would solve it. And I would get x and x. I would get 9 and 11 opposite. See, plus and minus. Split and solve. I get x to be 9 and x to be negative 11. I guess if it doesn't say they're consecutive and they're odd, you could actually say or negative 11 and negative 9. Those actually do multiply to give me positive 99. I suspect the problems will actually not be that vague, and you will be more specific. Find 3 consecutive positive integers such that the product of the larger 2 is 72. 3 consecutive positive, so this time I would not get negative, integers. No odd or even, so x plus 1, x plus 2. The product of the larger 2. Product of the larger 2. Well, x would be the smallest, okay? This would be the medium size one, which means x plus 2 would be the largest. Well, the larger 2 would actually be these 2 right here. So find 3 numbers, but the product such that, from this part right here, this is the part after the such that, that's really going to help me write the problem. Product of the larger 2 is 72. Lobster claw, x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 72. I'm going to move 72 over here, subtract 72. So I'm going to end up with x squared plus 3x minus 70 equals 0. Okay. I get x and x. 10 times 7 does subtract to be 3. Bigger number wins the sign. And I get x is equal to negative 10 and x is equal to positive 7. Now, this time it has to be positive answers. So I'm going to discount and throw out negative 10. So my first answer would be 7, and then plus 1, 8, plus 2, 7, plus 2 is 9, 7, 8, 9, and it does say find 3. So you would actually need to list all 3 answers. Number 4. Find 2 positive. They're consecutive, they're positive, they're odd. I'm only looking for 2. So x and x plus 2. The part after the word such that is really where I'm going to focus my attention to help me write the equation. The square of the smallest. Well, this would be smaller and this would be larger. So the smallest one is x. Square of the smaller. Square of x. X squared. Added to 3 times the larger. 3 times the larger. Added to 3 times the larger. So the larger number is x plus 2. So I'm going to bring in x plus 2. So 3 times the larger. Then I have is my equals. And on the other side is 24. Not sure guess and check would work, but that's why we have a strategy in place. So that's what we're doing. Must multiply 3 first. So x squared, did not do anything to it. 3x plus 6 equals 24. I need to bring 24 over. It's going to be minus 24. So I end up with x squared plus 3x minus 18 is equal to 0. What multiplies to give me 18? That's going to subtract and be 3, would be 6 times 3. Positive 6, bigger number wins the sign, minus 3. My 2 answers are negative 6 and positive 3. It should be odd. Okay, remember it's supposed to be odd. 6 is not odd, negative 6 is not odd, it's supposed to be positive. So my answer says find 2 of them, so I need 3 And I need, oops, sorry, not 4. I need odd numbers. So it would be 3 and 5 are the two numbers we're looking for. Last example. Product of 2, so I need 2, consecutive odd, it's important. X plus 2 helps me get started. And I'm going to do product. Products means I'm going to multiply them. So is the product of 2 consecutive. Okay, a product of 2 consecutive. Then it says is 1 less than. 1 less than. That means I'm going to subtract 1. And if it says 1 less than, it kind of implies something's in front, and I'm going to take 1 away from it. So that's 1 less than, that right there. Twice their sum. Twice, okay, their sum. So right here I need to sum them. Well, if I sum x and x plus 2, I believe I get 2x plus 2. That would represent the sum of the two numbers. Again, just taking it step by step, dissecting it apart, this is what I end up with. So x squared plus 2x, 4x plus 4 minus 1. I need to move everything to the same side. And since x squared is already positive, this is going to come over here, so it's going to be minus 4x. That's going to end up giving me positive 3. So if I came over here, I'm going to end up subtracting 3. X squared minus 2x subtract 3 equals 0. This does factor. What multiplies to give 3 is going to subtract to be 2 is 3 times 1. Bigger number wins the sign. My answers are 3 and negative 1. 2 consecutive odd. Didn't say positive or negative, didn't it? They're both odd. So I technically could have, probably the positive is the one that we wanted, could be 3 and 5. Okay. Or it looks like it could be negative 1 and 1. Product of 2 is 1 less than twice their sum. Okay, I'm checking, and this is product of the 2. I'm using 5 and 3. Is 1 less twice their sum, which is 8, and that would be 16 minus 1. So 15 equals 15. I was just checking to see if I did put numbers back in, so I can verify this one works. Let's check the next one. The product of the other 2, so negative 1 and 1 would be negative 1 is equal to 1 less than twice their sum. Well, twice their sum is 0 because 2 times their sum is 0. It does give me negative 1 equals negative 1. So guess what? Unless it specified that it would at all positive or all negative answer, technically both sets of answers work because it actually is a quadratic. I have a feeling, though, 3 and 5 were the ones that we actually wanted. That's just a quick review of consecutive.